I hope the screen is visible now.
Yes, it is visible.
Perfect. Let me begin then. So I'm Anagha Pednekar. I'm the regional representative for the South Asia region, working for University of Wisconsin-Stout. I am based in Mumbai. So if you have always, if you need any questions to be answered, if you have queries, any application concerns, you can always reach me. I'll jot down my contact details at the end of it in the chat box. Anyway, it will be displayed on the PPT as well, so you can go through that. Wisconsin Stout is a public state university. As the name suggests, it is based in the state of Wisconsin. I'm sure you've known some other universities in the state of Wisconsin, like Madison, Milwaukee, probably some more. Uh, Stout is the only one which is not named after the town that we're based in. So there's no town called Stout, because I get these questions a lot of time, like where is Stout uh, located, or where does this town belong to? So Stout is basically the name of our founder, James Huff Stout, and that's how the university was named as Wisconsin Stout. You'll also see the tagline as Wisconsin's Polytechnic University, especially for the Indian population on this call. This is not the same as the polytechnics in India. So there's, of course, a difference. I'm sure you have heard of other polytechnic institutions in United States, like Cal Poly, Worcester Polytechnic, or Rensselaer Polytechnic. There are plenty of them, about 125 such polytechnics which exist in United States. We are based in this small town called Menominee. So Wisconsin is here for the reference. This is where Stout is based. It's a small town called Menominee, a typical American college town, if I can call it as. We're closest to the big city in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is the Twin Cities in Minnesota. We're just 1 hour away from here. So probably this is the closest airport as well for students or anybody else to travel to Stout from outside of United States. Madison, which is the capital, is about 2 hours away. Same thing with Milwaukee. Chicago is towards the southern parts of Wisconsin, so the state of Illinois. And Chicago is about 4.5 to 5 hours away driving distance. So students have a multi-city, or a big city experience also nearby, and at the same time they're living in a small town, so they can always enjoy the safe and welcoming community life that exists in a college town in the US. We are named after this lake that you can see in the picture, which is called as the Menominee Lake. It freezes in the winter, so yes, Wisconsin and Menominee has a good 4 months of winter. It will start anytime soon, and it will last almost until February, where there are a lot of activities that keep happening. As you can see, there's this theater which is right across the university campus, which is snow laden, so students can definitely enjoy that life too. Why polytechnic? So there are three things which are the tenets of a polytechnic in US. First is the career focus. So all our programs are delivered in a fashion that we want to prepare our students to be career ready, professionally ready, which is also the desire of our collaborators like industry partners, because eventually employers are looking at students who are ready to work from the day one, or probably as early as possible, and invest very little in the training processes or making sure that they're equipped with the necessary skills. Hence, the program is completely career focused. Uh, the delivery is applied learning. So there's hands-on learning curriculum that we follow. So blending theory with practice. In fact, students spend a lot of amount in the practice aspects of it, be it laboratories, project works, or internships. So there's a lot of understanding that students get through the real world problem solving. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we collaborate with our industry partners for the same. So I think, on a regular basis, we collaborate with almost 1,000+ industry partners. And they're not just to hire our students. A lot of our industry partners are on our curriculum advisory board as well, so that our programs are modern and up to date. And as the career focus says, they're professionally driven, which makes students career ready, because I'm sure all the students are eventually looking at a good career to, thrive in. And that's what we are trying to get them in. So these are the three basic tenets of a polytechnic in the US. Some of the numbers that we're really proud of at Wisconsin-Stout. Our total enrollment is roughly around 7,600 or 700 students. Almost 40 plus countries are represented on campus. Currently, we have almost 200 to 250 odd students from India or South Asia, and again from different regions in India that we have our students. And this is the combined number with undergrad and grad students. As I was mentioning earlier, there's a lot of laboratories that we have on our campus. In fact, we boast of 3 times more laboratories and studios on our campus compared to classrooms. This also bodes well when it comes to the applied learning aspects of our polytechnic institution, where we provide the necessary infrastructure to the students to make sure that they have, enough number of labs and project aspects where they can actually get the hands-on learning, attribute. Our student to faculty ratio in our general class is about 19:1. In the core classes, it could be as low as 8:1 as well. So students get, really one-to-one attention. We really pride ourselves in saying that we know our students by their names and not just numbers or faces. And this is again a very interesting percentage. I think a lot of students do ask for it. This is the placement percentages, if I can call it from an Indian perspective. So many students are employed or continuing education once they graduate from Stout. We host 2 career conferences on our campus every year. This is like a placement drive or a job conference for your understanding. Each year it happens in the month of March and September. So there's one in fall and one in spring semester. Each conference is attended by almost 300 plus employer partners of ours. So our students find job opportunities really very easily. And it's not just the function of getting them in that career conference, it's also the function of the applied learning pedagogy that we follow. Keeping in mind the applied learning pedagogy, all our undergraduate degree programs, which I'm going to show it to you now, have a co-op compulsory, which is called as cooperative education or CPT in United States, which is curriculum practicum training. Typically 8 months long, happens during their summer breaks, usually the second year and third year summer break, and the university will facilitate it. So it's not up to the students to go look for internship opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, we work with almost 1,000 industry partners, and we'll always have internship opportunities available for all our undergraduate students. And this is mandatory, they earn credits through it. And of course, it's a tremendous value proposition because they're getting that industry experience while they're working. They can do some, trial and errors to understand what kind of job profile works for them. These are co-ops, so these are paid internships. So of course they get to earn money as well. And at the same time, they get that 8 months of experience added to their resume when they graduate. So it's a total win-win situation for the students. We have 6 different departments or schools under our undergraduate program school. First one is art, design, and graphics, a very popular design school in Wisconsin and Midwest. Our programs like game design, animation, and graphic design are really popular. Industrial design, also called as product design. So I do get a lot of queries from students who want to study product design. Interior design is also an option, video production, and studio art. Studio art is basically fine art. So somebody who's wanting to study a fine art program can study a studio art one. Every year we also host a design expo, which is like a festival for all design students. There are employers, there are students from across universities. There are people who are from the industry, academia, who attend that design expo, which could be a tremendous exposure and experience for a student. There are projects, proposals, there are competitions that are happening, which gives them a lot of exposure in that region and understanding of how design actually functions in the industry. And as I mentioned, all of these programs will also require students to complete a CPT or a co-op, which is an industrial internship. Then we come to our business school. So we have a typical business administration program, a BBA. It has majors into various capacities. There's marketing, finance, the traditional ones, the new age ones like supply chain management, international business kind of things as well. Then we have some specialized business programs. So we have construction management, we have fashion and retail management, hotel management. In fact, our hotel management program is listed as the or ranked number 11 across the world and not just in United States. So it's a very, very effective program if you're wanting to be employed in the restaurant or hospitality management industry. There's a real estate management, a supply chain management degree as well. All of these are 4-year programs, like all the undergraduate degree programs in the US. A lot of education degrees. So somebody who's wanting to make academia or teaching their profession into different capacities. There is art education, technical education, early childhood education. There are various different programs for the same. Even education department has co-op opportunities for students. So if somebody is pursuing this program, they also get to do the CPT aspect of it. Then we have our human and social sciences department where students have programs like psychology. They can pursue a preclinical track here, or they can pursue a non-clinical or a combination of preclinical and non-clinical. So just to shed a little bit light on that, if somebody wants to pursue clinical psychology in future as a profession, they need to do a preclinical track at the undergraduate level, which is kind of a medicine program, if I can say that. So just like how pre-medicine functions in US, they do this preclinical and then move into a master's degree into clinical psychology or a probable PhD too, which will make them eligible to practice as a clinical psychologist or a clinician in the psychology department. There are also some other programs. So under the applied social sciences, they can pursue economics, history, political science, and social sciences as a degree. We have criminal justice and rehabilitation services. So somebody who's wanting or really interested in the criminal justice aspects of it, they can pursue some of those programs too. I think the next two departments will be more popular in India and otherwise. These are information technology and engineering programs. So under our information technology department, we have computer networking, computer science, cybersecurity, and IT programs. Computer science here gives you specializations into game design, cybersecurity, and mobile application. So there's a standalone cybersecurity program also available, or if somebody wants to just pursue it as a major, they can do it under the computer science degree. So as you must have seen, there are two ideally programs for game design, something which is art side of it and something which is science side of it, which is available here in this particular program department. We have this program called Professional Communications and Emerging Media, a really genuine program for somebody who's wanting to be in the media industry, mass media, communication, journalism. If these are the programs on the students' radar, this is a fabulous program to get into. It kind of combines the traditional communication program and journalism practices to the emerging practices currently, which is audio, visual, and with a lot of technology. So it is a very, very effective program if you're wanting to be in the industry where you're handling media, etc. So that will be a wonderful program to explore if somebody is interested in industry like that. Then we come to science, engineering, and mathematics department. Here we have a program called Applied Mathematics and Computer Science, where students study data science, machine learning, algorithms, AI, of course. Applied sciences has all the core sciences, so physics, biology, chemistry. A lot of those programs come under our applied sciences program. Then we have an applied biochemistry and molecular biology, wanting to pursue biotech, genetics, those kind of programs are available under this. Then we have engineering degrees. There's computer electrical, there is mechanical and manufacturing engineering. We have some really off the chart programs in form of packaging and plastics engineering if somebody is interested in it. Plastics engineering, and I'm not sure if people know, but has fabulous employment opportunities because though we disdain plastics when we think about the environmental aspects or the sustainability, we still use it in multiple forms and fashion in the industry. And how do you actually utilize it is a program all about. And there are a lot of employment opportunities for the same. As you can see, there's this program which is titled as Engineering Technology. This is basically a program about robotics, though the title may not suggest so. So somebody who's interested in robotics, mechatronics, engineering technology is the curriculum that they should look at. We also have program into food science, a very popular program at Stout because Wisconsin is known as the breadbasket of US or the dairy capital of the world. So there's a lot of agricultural and food practices around. So students find again a lot of project work, internship, and job opportunities really very quickly, and which are really very well paid. So these are all our undergraduate degree programs. Coming to our graduate programs, we have very small offering of graduate programs. These are the ones listed here. You will see a lot more on our website, but these are the ones which are on campus. There are a few other which are completely delivered online. I'm sure a lot of students are not really looking at that option. They want to come to United States and study. So these are the programs which are delivered on campus. We are launching a new computer science degree program at the master's level starting from fall of 25. It's already in the process of being on the website, and it's completely developed. It's just waiting for few last minute authorizations that will happen in December. We'll start accepting applications from January 25, at least for this year. And going forward, it will come under the regular application cycle, which I'll explain afterwards. But for this fall, since it's been launched right now, we'll only accept applications from January onwards through the regular application mode. We have an applied psychology program, somebody who's interested in studying psychology at the master's level. Why this is a very good program is because it's STEM designated. I hope you guys understand what's a STEM designation. Students will get 3 years of stay back post their program completion in the United States. So it could be really helpful for students to find employment and get their returns on their investments too. We have food science and technology program at the master's level, again, very popular. We had to, in fact, increase our class capacity to manage the application and the requirements from the South Asia region for this program. Manufacturing engineering, there's operations, supply management, and risk control and safety management, which could be really exciting and interesting for students. I have marked programs with star marks or asterisks, which are STEM designated. So there are 6 such programs that are available, which I'm sure will be of interest to South Asian students. I have explained it a little bit here from the program perspective. Applied computer science, as I said, it is starting from fall of 25, which will have programs into data science, machine learning, cybersecurity, and interdisciplinary sciences. Manufacturing engineering has a lot of, um, sub majors or majors which are into robotics design or product development and design. So somebody who's interested in that can definitely think about it. Operations and supply management, that's the program here. These are the majors. So somebody who's looking at an engineering management kind of a degree, this could be suitable. It also has a business analytics major. So somebody wanting to just do a master's in business analytics can think about this, wherein he's enrolled into an operation management program, and his or her major will be in business analytics, which is again a very employment friendly major and program. Food science and technology, again, consists of a lot of things under the technology of understanding food science. So food processing, the plant management, quality assurance, all of those come under it. Risk control and safety management, this is the industrial risk and safety management program, not the financial risk program. So somebody who studied engineering degrees, chemical degrees are really suitable for this program. Not a very popular program, I would say, in India, but has tremendous employment potential because each and every industry needs risk managers or safety managers, and not many qualified people to actually work in that domain. So, if somebody is really interested in offbeat careers which are still well paying, they can think about risk control and safety management. That's about our programs. Just to look at the other aspects of a student life on our campus, a lot of things that students can get involved in. There are almost close to 100 plus clubs and organizations on our campus. So a lot of students attend these activities on a regular basis. They are involved in these student organizations to make sure that they're contributing to the campus as well. So many are our student employees. So 1900 plus students work on campus in different format of job opportunities that they get as an on-campus job. So many student organizations and different capabilities, leadership, academic, civic, society, social justice, so many of them, also at the varsity sports level. So students can participate in a lot of different activities on campus. And since we are based in Wisconsin, they'll also experience really good, four seasons, which are not really easily available in India, I would say. So a good winter, a fantastic fall season, and a really good spring and summer. In fact, summers can go as high as sometimes how we experience in some of the cities in India. So it will not be very different. There is an Office of International Education on campus, which is really the kind of the backbone of all the international students. Whatever help that they need, it's available when they come on board. There's a complete 1 week long orientation program that they attend, and there's always somebody at the Office of International Education who's there for their help, or whether it is for immigration advising, health advisory, when they eventually complete their programs, how to sign up for their OPTs and STEM OPTs. We do a lot of events which will help them keep their roots to their home country intact. A lot of events that happen, festivals that happen on campus, which really keep them going. We have on campus living arrangements. In fact, for our undergraduate students, it is mandatory to stay on campus for the first year. From the second year onwards, if they want to stay off campus, they can make that decision, but they are most welcome to stay on campus. Even our graduate students can find on campus employment. A lot of them stay on campus too. Of course, they need to make sure that they are booking those arrangements well in advance. Otherwise, they'll not be getting those easily. But there are 3 or 4 different types of accommodations which are available: single occupancy, double sharing, triple sharing, those kind of things. And of course, there are attendants on each floors. It is completely full with all the amenities that they need. The centers, student centers are nearby, so their meal plans are delivered quite near to the on-campus housing facilities. They'll have different, there are typically 3 different cuisines that are served on campus every day. So they'll always have good options when it comes to food options too. Coming to a really important aspect of cost, I think that's playing on a lot of students' mind and the counselors as well, like how much is the cost. And I would say we are quite affordable when it comes to our costs. So these are the undergraduate tuition and the total cost, and same thing with the graduate students. Tuition is $16,000 roughly in both cases. Fees includes for the undergraduate students their textbooks and a laptop too, which comes with all the softwares loaded in it so that they don't have to really buy it separately, which can cost them a lot more than what they're paying as fees. This also includes their local transportation and the general administrative fees. This is the estimate on their housing and living and insurances. For graduate student, fees includes their textbooks and the local transportation, but not the laptop. But if they want to have a laptop, they can always request the department, and they can also get the services as needed. This is again estimation on their food, living, health insurance, etc. So total 1 year cost for an undergrad is about $30,000 and graduate is about $31,000. So I would say we are quite affordable when it comes to American standards. And since we are in a small town, even if they live off campus, their living expenses aren't going to be a lot higher or a lot cheaper than this. It will be very much in a similar range. And we have scholarships too. So it's not just that our cost is low. Our scholarships are also easily available for all our students. There is an international student tuition scholarship, which is a direct scholarship. No separate application needed for this. This is available for both undergrad and grad students. For undergrads, the value is $5,000. For grads, it is $6,000. It's a simple math that we use. If the GPA is 3.0 for undergrads, they get this $5,000. For graduates, we need a 3.2 on a 4.0 scale, and they get this $6,000. So typically, when we evaluate their application and if they're admitted and if their GPAs are more than this, they get this offer along with their admissions itself that they've been assigned or allotted this scholarship. This is a renewable scholarship. So if they keep maintaining their GPAs, they'll get this scholarship for all the years of their program duration. So 4 years for undergrads, 2 years for grads. There's also a You're Welcome Here scholarship, which is only for undergrads. This is again available in only fall semester. Requirement for that, this will be a GPA of 3.5 and an application essay too. So usually this application will open on February 1st every year, and April 1st is the final deadline to submit that application essay. So usually students who have applied for the fall intake and who have been admitted and have the 3.5 GPA are usually notified by us that this is a scholarship available, and they can submit this application essay, and if found eligible, they get almost 50% of their international tuition per academic year as a scholarship. There's foundation scholarship. Again, the requirements is of an application essay. However, this scholarship is awarded to the students only when they come on campus, so they may not know how much they're getting. But foundation scholarships are easy to get. There's no GPA requirement as such. That they can submit this application once they are on campus, and if found favorable, they get different types of. So the scholarship amount is really variable here, starting from $250 to almost $8,000. So they can get some amount of scholarship through the foundation scholarship too. I'm sure all of you know that international students can work on campus. Part-time, maximum 20 hours is allowed. Even if they do about 15 hours of work, they have a potential of earning about $5,000 on our campus. So that's also something that students can evaluate and get as a financial help. Application requirements, very simple. For undergrads, as such, there's no minimum GPA required. Depending on the program, usually the competition goes higher or lower. So a good 75% is what I usually suggest, but it's not a minimum requirement. We've had students with lower grades also been admitted. It's about their essays, it's about their activities, their resume that they submit, which will eventually get them the admission offer. For graduates, however, we have a 3.0 minimum requirement for almost all our programs. So that's something that we need to match. We don't need test scores like GRE, GMAT, ACT, or SATs for our applicants. Deadlines are pretty relaxed. Fall intake is July 1st and spring intake is November 15th. However, for some of the graduate programs, these differ from one another. So usually when you're applying, typically keep in mind for fall, it is April 1st. And for spring, it could be 1st October, in some cases of our graduate program, especially the food science one. So you may want to apply as soon as possible for these programs. Application process, again, very simple. We are on the Apply Wisconsin app, which is a Wisconsin state app, and the common application for our undergraduate students. Undergraduate students submit English language proficiency. These are the minimum requirements. So we accept TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, and PTE at the undergraduate level. They submit their academic records for 4 years, 4 years of high school, so from 9th onwards up to 12. Submit their passport, resume, and application essay. For graduates, we don't accept Duolingo anymore. So the only accepted tests are TOEFL, ETS, and PTE. You may not see PTE on the applications for grads. I don't know, for some reason it just doesn't show. So you can submit or add IELTS or TOEFL and just add your PTE score when you get the documentation link. For grads, what you need to remember is we need an official academic record for our graduate applicants. That means that I need an official transcript, either to be received from their institution directly at the grad school at Stout, or if that's not a possibility, they can get the official transcripts in a sealed envelope and courier it to us, to our grad school at Menominee. So that's very important because we do credential evaluation on their behalf with third party agencies, and for that we need their official transcripts. So once we have all their materials, we transfer that to the credential evaluation agency. They give us the report, which will also give us the equivalency of their GPAs, which will help them even determine for their scholarships. And then it goes to the department for the review. So usually the graduate turnaround time could be little more than our undergraduate. Undergraduates, usually the turnaround time is 1 week. For graduates, it can go up to 3 weeks in the peak season, but usually it would be about 2 weeks long turnaround time for our graduate applications. So those are the requirements that we would have. Three very important reasons why students choose Stout, or why you would want to talk about Stout with your students, is first affordability, sure, because I know a lot of Asian students would look at cost very, very critically because they don't want to spend out of the roof. And the returns on their investments are very, very important. So, as I demonstrated earlier, our tuition and our living expenses are quite low, and there are multiple scholarship opportunities for students to support themselves. They can also work on campus to support themselves. The co-op opportunities or CPTs, internships that they're doing, are also paid. So almost half of the costs that we mentioned can be covered in these form and fashion. So it's easily a good amount of investment that they're making, where there are high returns too. They are going to be a very welcoming and safe environment. I'm sure safety is another concern, especially for undergraduates or even for graduate students. And they are in a small town which is ranked amongst the top, 15 best towns in America. A very safe community. If any of you know about Wisconsin, historically also is known as a very, very safe community and a very welcoming community. So students will be facing, no challenges. Applied learning and career focus. So again, placement opportunities, CPT opportunities are a plenty. Close to 99% placement rates really makes sure that students get returns on their investments, as I mentioned earlier. So that definitely helps students to make that decision towards Stout. Some of our student testimonials, but I'll not take much time. This loads of students. That's my coordinate. So if any of you want to just jot it down, or I'll probably just put this on the chat box so you can save it. That's about it from my side. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask for the same. I'll be happy to answer those.
First of all, thank you, Anaga, for such a wonderful presentation. You have almost covered everything,
Yeah,
but I will just ask my team if they are having any questions.
sure.
If anybody is having any question, they can just put their questions in the chat box.
Shweta, the
Uh,
is
Hi, Shweta. Actually, chat is disabled.
Okay, I'll just enable it. I'm sorry. Usually that's the uh, setting that, by default there. I'll just do it.
And one more thing, Anaga, I
Yeah.
will be representing this university, so you will be
Okay.
getting mails
Thank you.
from my end.
Okay.
Okay, so the email ID and the contact number will not be shared with anyone.
Okay, no problem. That's not a problem at all. Yeah. So if I have any queries, I can always reach out to you, Shweta.
Yes, or you can just email to usa@thegbworld.com.
Sure, perfect, sure. I think I've enabled the chat, so if you have any questions, you can talk with it. 3 years of bachelor's degree is accepted from India as long as it is from the NAC a accredited institution. Because, as I said, we'll go through the credential evaluation process, and if it is equivalent to an American 4-year degree, then only we'll be able to admit children. So I know this happens a lot of times for the psychology program, especially because that's a 3 years degree usually here in Asia. So that's something that you got to keep in mind. We accept it for all our master's degrees, 3 years degrees from Asia, and it has to be just NAC A plus accredited here in India. So I'm not sure what's the equivalent otherwise, but I'm sure you will know those details. Um, MOI is accepted at the grad level for sure. At the undergraduate level, it is accepted, from CBSE and ICSE curriculum students. From if you're applying for a state board student, I would usually recommend not to apply with an MOI because that application decision might be delayed. Home edition TOEFL and PT scores are accepted, so that's not at all a problem. Backlogs is a very, very, kind of a relative term. There's no number that we are thinking about when it says how many backlogs we accept. Lesser the better. Again, the relevance of subject is very important here. So if somebody is applying to computer science and if they have backlogs in mathematics or programming skills, and that's a complete no-no. Even if they have lesser number of backlogs, it might still get rejected. So lesser the better. I would say 8-10 backlogs at the max to be fine. Again, relevance of those subjects is also very important. So keep that in mind when you apply. I think I answered this. Home edition TOEFL PT scores, yeah, they are accepted. Transfer students are accepted in bachelor's degrees, yes. So if you want to have any transfer student applications, you can definitely do that. It's the same process. How much credits they earn through the transfer process is a question that the department will answer. So that is something that will happen at the latter stage once they are admitted. So when you apply, we will just evaluate their high school requirements and the current undergraduate requirements that they would have finished by then. So that's something that you got to look at. So tuition fee is $16,000 amount that we mentioned. If they get a scholarship, let's say they get the $5,000 direct scholarship, that is deducted here. So ideally, their tuition will further lessen and will become about $11,000 or so. So the scholarship, tuition fees and everything that I mentioned, this is before scholarship. If they get any sort of scholarship, usually it is rebated from their tuition fees. We don't have an I-20 deposit. However, we have a confirmation deposit that students pay when their visas are approved. So it's a quite later stage that we ask them to pay the money. It is a high amount. It's a $5,000 advance confirmation deposit that we charge. And it usually happens after their visas are approved. So they don't have to commit to Stout typically before they actually have made that decision. Because if they've got the visa, it's ideally, they've made that decision. So typically they make that payment. We send them an email as soon as their visas are approved to make the payment through Flywire. There's a link shared for the same, and they have to use that link only to make the payment of USD $5,000, which is credited to their tuition account. So their tuition fees are partly paid through, are kind of paid through that amount of money. Is 10 plus 3 accept? And also if you could give guidance on the number of backlogs. So 10 plus 3 is typically the diploma program if you're talking about. Yes, we do accept it. Those students will apply to our bachelor's degree programs. So it's fine as long as they've completed that diploma program with good grades. If they're applying for again technology programs, they should be good in mathematics because I'm sure diploma program students sometimes don't have enough mathematics credits. But even if they don't have, that's fine. They can still apply to our technology programs and apply for our bachelor's degree. Again, to reiterate, there's no magic number for backlogs acceptance. Lesser the better. 8, 10 max is something that you can keep in mind. Again, what kind of relevance of subjects that they have backlogs in to the program that they're applying for is very important for us. So we don't want to, admit a student who is not good with basic requirement as far as subject is concerned. Deferral, what is it? So deferral process is different for different programs, ideally. For undergraduate degrees, it's a simple process. You just request for a deferral and you get it very automatically. For graduate students, except food science program, it's again an automatic process. But for food science, they have to apply. So they don't have to pay the application fees all over again, but they need to apply separately. And usually their documents are submitted. So if we need anything extra, we let them know. But otherwise, it's a separate application, but there's no separate application fees for that.
The applications are not deferred. We have to create a new application again, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. However, they don't need to pay the fees again. So that is automatically, adjusted.
And
We
it's
don't require
through the
financial.
mail, right?
Sorry,
Not through the portal.
sorry.
The deferrals can be done through the portal itself, or do we need to send a mail?
You can just do it through the portal itself. You don't need to separately send any. That's not required. But if you want to just inform the admissions office that you've done that, you can just be prudent enough to it, I would say. Financials are not required at the time of application. They will be required only upon the admission is done. We use an automated system called Teradata. I'm sure you might have heard of it, that students go through while submitting their financial documents. Ideally, we recommend even agent partners to suggest or help students to do it if they're not able to do it, but don't do it yourself. Students get the credentials for the same when they're admitted and when they ask for an I-20. So it's a very simple interface. They just upload the necessary documents and submit it, and they get their I-20s. I-20s usually come within 2 or 3 days, so it's not a very lengthy process. There's no deposit for confirmation. As I said, it's only upon the visa approvals that they get their deposit requests. MOI acceptance. Yeah, what is the process of agent act? Yeah, two important questions. Yes. So MOI acceptance at the undergraduate level. So usually, if a student has studied in an international curriculum, IB, AAS level, Cambridge, etc., they don't require to submit an English language proficiency, but I still strongly recommend them to give the test. If they don't have, that's fine. For students who have studied in central boards like CBSE and ISC, they can send an MOI from their high school, which will be easily accepted. However, if they are from any of the state boards in India, we may take a long time to evaluate those criteria necessary scores for the same. For agent tagging, all our applications have a tab where we ask, "Are you working with any agent?" So say yes, and there is an option you can add the relevant agent name. So please make sure when you are applying for your children, you add that. For graduate students, it is in the application link. So in the application, you will not find it, but once you have submitted an application, the graduate school will send a link for you to upload the documents where you will find that tagging mechanism. So make sure that you do it for sure. Uh, Financial documents are not required at the time of application. Is third-party evaluation required for? So we don't need the third-party evaluation for our undergraduate or graduate students. However, for our graduate students, we do it on our own. So we're not asking our students to submit the course by course evaluation. However, we are doing it, and that's the reason we ask students to submit the official transcripts when they're applying for graduate programs only. For undergraduates, it's very simple. They just submit their transcripts and the other documents, and that's about it. Change of agent is a very contesting kind of a question at most times, because currently there's a recent change that has happened with Stout that we accept agent tagging only when you apply with the student and not any time afterwards. So usually the change of agent may happen at the latter point of time. So if it has happened, or if you have a student who is probably with an agent before and he wants to now apply with GB, and if he has not applied, while he is applying, you can do the tagging. But beyond that, there's no mechanism where you can tag a student to an agency. So it's not possible after an offer. Yes.
Yeah. Once the application is filled up, we cannot do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Official score reporting is not needed. Only in certain cases, like I said, if we find that the credentials are little not matching, then we may ask for the official score report. But otherwise, in the regular process, we don't need official score reporting. I have already told you about how to tag. Do you require any authorization form signed by a student? So authorization form, keeping an authorization form signed by a student will be handy, just in case if required. But if you have tagged a student while you apply, it shouldn't be required, is what I would say. We do accept open schooling and distance education, credentials. So you can definitely apply for those students. I think I've covered all the questions which came on the chat box directly to me. There's one more message I can see. What is the minimum turnaround time for issuing I-20? So typically, once you submit your financial documents, you get your I-20 in 2 to 3 days. So it's working days usually. So if you submit it on Friday, probably you'll get it by. Application turnaround time could be like 1 week for undergrads, 2 to 3 weeks for grad students. Gap in studies is not at all a worry. You can we definitely accept it. Not more than I would say like 2 years for undergrads and not more than 5 years for grads.
What is the turnaround time for offers, Anaga?
For offers, undergrads, it's 1 week. For grads, it can be 2 to 3 weeks. This is upon completion of your application materials. So once we have all the materials received, we will be able to turn around and give the offer in this much amount of time. So the link for agent tagging ideally goes to the student. But if you are submitting the documents on the student's behalf, then you can almost. So there's a mandatory question when they submit that documentation, where they have to answer where they are working with an agent or no. So you can make sure that the students answers yes and adds new GPA to that.
Any more questions, team? GRE GMAT is not required, no?
It's not required, no. So none of our programs require those, not even SATs at the undergraduate.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I think we have covered maximum questions now.
Sure. So Shweta, what I'll do is I'll send you a copy of our brochure and some flyers too. So, if you have any, like some reference, you can quickly look at it, or I'm always available. So you can reach out to me on my phone number.
Okay. Anaga, it will be great if you can just share the presentation.
I can do that too. Yes, I'll do that. Yeah, sure. I'll email it to you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for attending. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Thank you.